Hey there, and welcome to a special lunch critique. So for these, I have just done a live session edit with people on Zoom and actually reviewed their stories. So go in and listen to the feedback to hear how you can make better edits in your own manuscripts as well. Will Jamie find a friend? I think you have conceptualized the story a lot better. It's clearer. It's very obvious, like what the plot is, it's what his goal is, and all of the things. So essentially what I would suggest now would be just to do a line edit. And so we talked about this in Kidlit Academy, the monthly coaching that we do. That's part of Kidlit Writing 101. And there's stages to your edit. So like I said, I've read this story before. So I know like how you've gone through the progress, because you have to do a plot analysis, a developmental edit, and then you do the line edit. So you've reached the point where now you can start to be a little bit pickier with your writing and make it a little bit more fun. This is where the fun part comes. I had an author once tell me that their story was boring, and I'm like, you wrote it, you're in charge, like you're gonna make it as fun as you want. So if you don't feel like your story is fun, this is when it starts to get fun, is during the line edits. So we talked about plot on day 2 of the boot camp, where you want to start with the setup and then we go into a catalyst. Everyone has very similar stories when it comes to the plot setups. It doesn't matter if you're writing a chapter book, a middle grade, a novel, a picture book, doesn't matter. But you almost rush the setup just a little too much. I just wanted a little bit more clarity of, you get a little bit used to who Jamie is when you kind of set us up a little bit. So Jamie jumped off the front porch of his new house. I hope I can find a friend here, he thought. Like a little bit of context would be nice. Like if we added another sentence that was maybe what he's hoping to do, or if how he thinks he's going to do it, or something like that. Having a new friend, finding a new friend, very common story idea, very common concept, that kind of stuff. So you could look at some find a friend comp books, go and grab some picture book ones and see how did they set it up, how did they start it, to give you some ideas. But just adding like a little bit more information will help us to get to know Jamie a little bit more, will help us to know if he's feeling reserved or sad about moving into a new house, being the new kid, if he's excited to be the new kid. Like it gives us that personality, that uniqueness, that you spent all the time building in day 1 when you were creating your characters. So now this is where they start to come out. And then these read very similarly. He walked. So the kids were playing basketball, they were playing baseball. It felt very much the same. So as we talked about, I think it's actually in today's lesson, if you guys haven't watched it yet, is about how to kind of vary up your verbs and change up the sentences. But this is even where I would kind of push you to be a little bit more picture book voicey. So like if he's walking past the park, could you make it into a sound effect? Or could you give us a little bit more of a visual, like walk to such a general verb, maybe go to the thesaurus and see if there's any synonyms that could be a little bit more fun, like skipped or galloped or something. It also helps to tell us the emotion. So if he's skipping past the park, maybe he's excited, he's happy. But if he's dragging his feet, he's going to be, like dreading something, or he's kind of like feeling a little anxious, maybe even. So the verb choice that you guys choose really plays up that emotion, and it tells without having to say, Jamie was sad or Jamie was happy. You use the verb. So that'll help too, and it will help to keep it from going so fast. We spend so much time with the cat that we're expecting him and Devin to be friends at the end. They're not. So it kind of feels like the cat is a distraction. And so if you when you're going through and you're line editing, make the setup have a little bit more weight, adding in a couple more sentences, giving in a little bit more fun. That's a little bit more action based when it comes to finding his friends, because we're already set up with, well, here's what he's expecting, here's what he's hoping for, and then this is how it's happening and it's not working out. And you can do this as a midpoint plot, which is what I think you've kind of done. But when you have half your story is this long and then the other half is this long, that's an uneven midpoint, where the midpoint's supposed to be in the middle. So how would you expand this to be a little bit longer? And then how would you shorten down this to be less? Like we don't need to have the full tour of her house. We could do it a lot faster. We don't need to have all of the emotions about the cat. We could, cut a lot of that out to kind of help with that. So let's see, like, cause she pointed at a little pillow with a toy mouse. She pointed at a collar. She pointed at 2 bowls. See how it's the exact same verb? You don't really need to have that. You could simply say, Claire pointed at 2 bowls, a tiny pillow with a toy mouse, and a collar. See, all Devon's. It's the exact same thing. It's just said faster, and then you could eliminate a lot of words and then save a lot of words too. So good. Yeah, you've done a great job with this rewrite. So awesome job.